Hey fantasy fans, welcome back. This is Dan with TreeBeard Book Reviews, and in this video I'm going to be talking about doing like a monthly recap of what I read in August, and going to be talking about videos you should expect on the channel this month or in the subsequent weeks, and also what I plan to read for the month of September. So let's get into it. I definitely didn't read as much as I would have liked, but I did get through 4 books, and 3 of those books will have a review on this channel. 1 won't. I'll explain why, and I'll talk about that book. So the first book I read this month was Witches Abroad by Terry Pratchett. So this is the 3rd of the Witches book. It's a very fun book. Again, I'll be a review will come out for that. I don't know if it'll be this month, but again, all these books that I'm going to be discussing today will get a review at some point, except for 1, just because it mainly doesn't really fit into my channel. Then the next book I read was another Terry Pratchett, was The Lords and Ladies. So this is this book follows straight after the Witches Abroad. There's no real time jump. It's Witches Abroad straight into Lords and Ladies. This was a little bit longer than the Witches Abroad. Probably the longest of the Witches books I've read so far. It's very good. So again, like, review will be coming for that shortly. Okay, so the next book I read was Elantris. So this is again in my review. You can see my review on this channel. It's Brandon Sanderson's first published book. It's his first Cosmere book. So yeah, please check out my review. One thing I forgot to do in the review is give this a rating, and I would give Elantris probably 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. Like I said, great characters, really good plot. The magic system is super cool, super fun. So yeah, please check that out. Like I said, I'll have a link in the description. And so I guess to talk about this next book, you'll see it on my Goodreads. It's a Lisa Kleypas book. It's called Secrets of a Midsummer Night. So it's actually a historical romance. What me and my wife do is, well, now and again, every couple of weeks or months, we'll let's do like a little reading challenge where I'll give her a book to read, and then she picks a book for me to read, and typically a romance because that's her favorite genre. So I read it. Like, you'll see a rating on my Goodreads. Like I said, it was okay. It was like, it's not my type of genre. I gave it a 3 stars. Like, those kind of books, like, they move along at a pretty good clip, so you don't really, you're not really waiting for anything to happen. It's always something's happening. It's kind of like a soap opera. So yeah, that's one that won't get a review. It was just more like a little reading challenge that was fun for me and my wife. So now I'm going to talk about books to expect, or books that I'm going to be reading in the month of September, and videos to expect coming out this month. So the first book, and the book I'm currently reading, is Men at Arms by Terry Pratchett. So I'm about 20% in right now. So this book, it's the sequel to the Guards book. So Guards was the first book, and then The City Watch. Men at Arms is the second book. And I believe with the Guards series in Discworld, there's about 7 books, where it's Guards, Men at Arms, Feet of Clay, Jingo, The Fifth Elephant, The Night's Watch, Thud, and then Snuff. So this is the second book. Really enjoying it so far. Starting to get into it. So yeah, you'll see a review for that. I will have a link below for my Guards video, so check that out if you'd like to learn about the City Watch for Terry Pratchett. So the next book I plan to read after Men at Arms is Dune. So Dune's a pretty interesting book. I read Dune back in high school. Can't really remember it. It didn't really stick with me. Maybe it just didn't hit me at the right time, or I didn't read it at the right time. But one of the reasons I'm reading it is, I want to read it. B, and also so that you guys have a review out before the movie comes out, because that's one of the reasons I want to read it, is because there's a new movie coming out in October, and I definitely want to see it. I do remember, like the old Dune movie. I do remember. All I remember really from it is Patrick Stewart. It was in the movie. That's all I can really remember. So I probably have to give that a rewatch soon, before, well, maybe once I finish the book and before I see the new movie that comes out in October. All right, so after Dune, I plan to read Feet of Clay by Terry Pratchett. So this is, again, like the third book in the City Watch. Like I said, I thought it'd be a good idea just to read something a little bit lighter, a little bit more funny, get some laughs out of it after reading such a big book, big serious book like Dune. So that is my my next plan, is to read Feet of Clay. And finally, to round out the month, I plan to read The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton. This is a really cool like set of books. It's 3 in 1. It's got The Andromeda Strain, The Terminal Man, and The Great Train Robbery. If you see this, like, I got this one at like a Value Village or like a thrift store. If you see it, pick it up. Like, it's great. It's got all three. These are Andromeda Strain was actually Michael Crichton's first published novel under his own name. He so highly recommend that. It's actually quite fitting, a fitting story, because the Andromeda Strain is about like a pandemic. So, you know, we're a year and a half into COVID now, so I thought might as well give it a read. I love Michael Crichton. As you can see, I got a lot of his books here in hardcover. That just, I really love his writing, and Jurassic Park is also my favorite movie of all time. So yeah, so those are the 3 books I plan to read. So it's going to be, again, recap, Men-at-Arms. Okay, so now I want to talk about some books I read this year before I started this channel that I really want to talk about. And all these books, I think 90% of these books are going to be Terry Pratchett books, just because I've been really on a big Discworld Terry Pratchett fix. But I still think it'd be good to get these reviews out. Like I said, I would like to review all the Terry Pratchett, all the Discworld books eventually on this channel. So I'm going to round it out by, let's start off with the first book that I'd like to discuss is Mort. So Mort, this is one of the, it's the first Death book. So Death is a main character in the Discworld series. And in this book, like I said, wait for my review, but it's mainly where Death gets an apprentice. And it's such a good book. It's really good, really fun. The next book that is also a Death book that I read was Reaper Man. So Reaper Man, comes, I guess if you're following the Death series, it's right after Mort. And Death goes on a holiday. So yeah, look for that one. The Death ones are going to be fun. Death is one of my favorite characters in Discworld. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about those. So the next book I want to talk about is Equal Rights. So this is quite a small Discworld book. I really just flew through this one. Again, it's the third Discworld novel, and it's the first book where you meet Granny Weatherwax, who is like the head witch. So it's kind of like the Color Magic and like the Light Fantastic, where you know, Discworld is still kind of forming it, and Terry Pratchett is still developing it as a writer. So it's quite different from a lot of the other witches books. Yeah, so that is Equal Rights. Again, we will talk about it. Like, all the Discworld books are going to get a review on my channel at some point, so I'm excited to talk about that when we get to it. The next book I read was also Weird Sisters. So I actually read Weird Sisters before Equal Rights. This one's really good. It's a play on Macbeth. This one I actually listened to an audiobook, and I didn't really enjoy the audiobook version. So I went back and I read Weird Sisters, which I highly recommend. Read it over the, if you're an audiobook reader, I would pass that one, like physically read that one. It's actually quite short. And I like that one a little bit better, and it's probably a better entry to the witches, just because like, you get to learn, there's more witches in it, really. So, and one of my favorite characters in all of Discworld, you get introduced to her in that book. So, another book that I'm going to discuss, like I said, all these are going to be Terry Pratchett except for one, which I will mention later, or last. So that was, next was Guards. There is a review for Guards on my channel, so there will be a link in the description, so please check out that review. And then these next two books, I'm not going to hide anything. These are some of my favorite books of all time. At least some of my favorite Discworld books, and there will be reviews for sure. Maybe not in September, but in the subsequent weeks. First one is Small Gods. So, Small Gods is actually a standalone book in the Discworld universe. There's not many. I think there's only like 5 standalones where, you know, Small Gods, Pyramids, Monstrous Regiment, The Truth, Moving Pictures. So there's a few of the standalones. Small Gods, like I said, I cannot wait to review this book. This is a great book, and I hope you guys will like it too. And then the last Pratchett book I'm going to talk about is Going Postal. So this book, this was my first Terry Pratchett book that I read. And if you check out, there's this website called the Discworld Emporium, and they have a really good comprehensive like reading list of where you should kind of jump in at with the Discworld series. And I picked this book up, and I said, hey, I'll give it a read, and I love this book. Like I said, there's going to be a review, but, you know, I love it. It's probably my favorite Terry Pratchett book. It might be my second favorite book of all time. I will talk about some of my favorite books in, like, subsequent videos. So, yeah, Going Postal. So that's the end of the Pratchett. Like I said, all these are going to get reviews on my channel. The next book I want to talk about is something I read this year, was Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. So I don't have a copy of the book because I actually listened to that one on audiobook. I highly recommend the audiobook version. It's quite enjoyable. Very interesting book. It's definitely kind of on the lines with, like, you know, Joe Abercrombie. It's the first John Gwynne book I've ever read. So yeah, I'll be talking about that one at some point in the channel. Good book. But yeah, not much more. I don't want to spoil anything for that one. So yeah, so that is my recap for the month of August, and what to expect in the coming weeks on the channel, and what I'm going to be reading in September. So looks like there's some good books I'm going to be reading. I'm pretty excited to read all the books I mentioned, and so please stay tuned. And if you like this content, please like and subscribe and comment below. Thank you.